America. Speaking of security, deep Islamic culture, and reforms that are taking place in Uzbekistan, I have a threefold question. There is so much discussion about hijab.
How many questions?
Threefold question. That's a nice way of saying that I have several questions as one. There is so much discussion about wearing hijab and beard in Uzbekistan, both on social media and also among the public. This is definitely a controversial issue in the country. Where does the government stand on this? Where is the red line in terms of religiosity? When it is that there is no longer about religious freedom for you? Secondly, all of you have indicated that there are candid, open discussions within the system about how to move forward. Do you ever worry that in the lack of real, legitimate political opposition in the country, a lot of people could, specifically youth, could still be attracted to extremist groups as alternative platforms to express their opposing views? And Dr. Saidov, I have a special question for you. As a lawmaker and the head of the National Human Rights Center, what would you say are the best ways to promote secularism in the country now, in this current context? Thank you.
Okay, I'll start with the first question regarding whether there's a ban to wear beards or hijabs in Uzbekistan. There is no legal requirement not to wear any kind of beards in Uzbekistan. Regarding hijab as a religious cult clothing, there is an article in the Code of Administrative Infringements where it says that it is prohibited to wear cult or religious clothing in public places. But there is a big case law on that, many precedents when it wasn't administered properly, and there was not a unanimous approach in interpreting this kind of legislation. So having this in mind and admitting and conceding that there were problems with using this law in practice, at the moment, as I told, the initiative of some members of parliament to review this article of the code, and how the new article will be put or in paper, I cannot say because it is going the process, but I would say that it is the European and experience, and many countries, they adopt this standard when people cannot cover their faces completely. For security reasons, of course. We have new IT system of identifying persons, and so new security system in place. So, and there were many cases when people brought the case before European Court of Human Rights. There was even a case in European Court of Justice in Luxembourg. But the courts insisted that the state had the power to have this kind of restrictions on wearing religious clothing. So we'll stick to the international standards on that. But at the moment, there is the fact is that.
Yeah, raising your second question, you were looking at me and understood that it was a question to me. So, frankly, I disagree with you that the growth of opposition and extremism might go side by side. At the contrary, the strengthening of democracy, broadening of democracy is the best way to confront the rise of extremism. Extremism is not political opposition. It's beyond of the legal zone. It's crime. That's why it's something not within the framework of political movement, to my understanding. At the contrary, the absence of political opposition and real democracy perhaps leads to the creation of gray zone, and when the people who are not able to express their discontent with disagreement with some injustice, corruption, etc., they went to the extremism. And violent extremism is a perhaps function of the absence of the open society and political life. The point is that the political parties in Uzbekistan, non-governmental organization, expressing the will, expectation, and hope of the people will not leave a chance to the extremistic groups, radical groups, to represent their minds. As I said during my initial remarks, the weak states, first of all, they're frail and weak because there is no way to translate the disagreement or protest of the people toward the government. And as Minister Davletov said today, the social life and political life in Uzbekistan is completely different from what it was 1 year ago, 1 year and a half ago. Today, there is many channels for people, youngsters, to channel their wish to the government. And there is an interactive dialogue between government and population. So, in short, I think that the democracy, open society is the best way to confront rise of violent extremism and radicalization.
Question concerning it's a very interesting question. This is one of the concrete recommendations done by Special Rapporteur of Mr. Ahmed Shahid. As you know, our Uzbek constitution was introduced as the principle of secularism, separation state and religious. We want to build the secular state, secular education, secular court, the rule of law principles in the field of religious relationships. It's very important. And Mr. Ahmed Shahid, right, encourage open debate on the meaning of secularism to overcome the current restrictive interpretation and attitudes within the administration and law enforcement agencies. Secular commitments should provide space to positively accommodate religious diversity in society without discrimination or fear. We agree with this recommendation of Ahmed Shahid. And in this field, we want to organize the several, it's very concrete, positive steps. First, we formed the Council on Faith Matters and the Committee on Religious Affairs. About this said Minister of Justice. The second, we want to organize the roundtable on the topic, a secular state, principles and implementation mechanisms at the present stage. And third, we conduct the sociological studies on the topics religiosity on the population of Uzbekistan and religious tolerance in Uzbekistan. And we want to organize a serious awareness-raising events with the involvement of the representatives of involved ministries and agencies to explain the concept of secularism to state bodies. And we want to organize a form of national pool of journalists who cover religious matters in the religious media. These are our concrete aims and steps in this field. Thank you.